Well, as part of the deal that was struck on March 20th, for each Syrian returned to Turkey, a Syrian migrant will be resettled in the EU. And as the start of the swap draws near, various human rights organizations have been critical of how ready Turkey and the EU are for the operation. Well, joining us now with an update on the situation is Turkey's ambassador to Canada. We're now joined by Selcuk Unal. Mr. Ambassador, thank you for joining us right now. This swap does begin tomorrow. 8 agencies, the UNHCR, have been critical, questioning the readiness of both countries to properly begin this swap. Is Turkey ready to start this exchange tomorrow?
We believe we are ready because the operation and the deal signed by the EU is first of all for humanitarian purposes and to reduce the number of people dying in the Aegean Sea while trying to get across Greece and then to Europe. So we believe this temporary and humanitarian operation will work for everybody, and our authorities on the Turkish side of the border are doing their best to get prepared. We also have teams in the Greek islands working with the Greek authorities for this purpose.
We know that this deal is struck in part to help alleviate the migrant crisis in Greece, as well as the other parts of the EU, as well as to help with the refugee situation in Turkey itself. But in all this processing, does this deal actually benefit the refugees who are trying to find safe haven somewhere?
Well, safe haven issue is, I think, a very critical term. Turkey has been hosting 2.7 million, maybe more than that, Syrian people who have escaped from the fatalities there, and we have also harboring more than 250,000 of Iraqis. So Turkey has become the largest refugee hosting country in the world now. That's why I believe thinking Turkey is not a safe country is illogical itself. But as I said, our main aim here is to first and foremost prevent more people and Syrian people or others dying in the Aegean Sea. And of course, we're gonna replace, hopefully, illegal migration with legal migration, as you have also mentioned, the one-for-one formula.
Now, we should point out that as we talk about this, though, Amnesty International, and I appreciate that you say that Turkey has really borne the brunt of this refugee crisis, but Amnesty International on Friday said it is not safe for the EU to send people back to Turkey. And here's a quote from them. They say, Turkish authorities have been rounding up and expelling groups of around 100 Syrian men, women, and children to Syria on a daily basis since mid-January. Now, is this in fact happening? Is Turkey a safe place to send these refugees from Greece back to?
It is. As I said, if Turkey hasn't been a safe country, why these 3 million people are being hosted by us? Secondly, the reports that you referred to are totally unacceptable for us because we believe they are not true. We are not sending anyone back to Syria, or we are not encouraging any Syrians going back to Syria because Turkey...
So the refugees, and sorry to interrupt, Mr. Ambassador, but so the refugees that will be sent back from Greece to Turkey, none of them will be sent back to Syria. They will have safety in Turkey?
No, we have announced this actually yesterday once again. We will be trying to help as much as possible to everybody who is escaping from a certain death. And in this case, of course, in order to prevent people dying trying to cross the Aegean Sea and to the Greek borders, we have been increasing all efforts with our national authorities and the Navy, as well as the other maritime authorities. If you look at the figures, I think we're successful. Last October, there were 6,900 people trying to getting into Greece, which in January this figure dropped to 2,200. Last month 1,900, and this month in March, last month to 900. So the preventive measures are also working for everybody. First and foremost, to save the people, their lives.
And I appreciate that. I understand what you're saying, that you're saving lives by stopping these dangerous crossings along the Aegean. But back to the refugees being sent back to Turkey, will any of them be sent back to Syria?
No. As I said, we just made a written statement yesterday saying that these reports by some human rights organizations are not true, because we have been hosting these 3 million people. If we were able to send them back, or if we have wished to send them back, do you think we would be waiting for 5 years?
And before I leave you, sir, you did mention the fact that Turkey continues to host some 2.7 million, nearly 3 million, as you say, refugees right now. Is the EU doing enough? Is the United States and Canada doing enough to help the situation that Turkey now faces?
Well, with the joint action plan, the EU committed 3 billion euros to transfer to Turkey to use for the Syrian refugees on project basis, and an additional 3 billion euros will be on the way. If you ask me, nothing is enough, but this is something. From the Canadian perspective, Canadian response is a commendable one. The Canadian authorities received more than 25,000, including some thousands from my country, and we are cooperating with them on this issue. But of course, if you ask me, the main problem is lying in Syria. Unless we could not find, unless the world cannot find a political negotiated solution to the Syrian crisis and stop the massacres, this exodus of the Syrians will continue.
Mr. Ambassador, I want to thank you very much for your time. And Selcuk Unal is Turkey's ambassador to Canada. He joined us in Ottawa.